had to drink there.
Holy cow.
What about the tequila shots?
Well, that actually went down really easy for some reason.
Ugh, that's gross. They should never go down easy.
Jeff said he went out till bar time. I went home at 12. I was wasted.
Ugh, not for me.
But
welcome to the Loaded Box Podcast.
Where we never finish first because we finished last. Sex joke.
Thank you once again for tuning in to the Loaded Box Podcast. I am Ben, that is DJ, and this is our Sunday evening instant reactions to Week 2 podcast. DJ, how do you grade yourself as a football fan today? I know last time you were kind of easy on your grading. You gave yourself an A- somehow, despite, I don't know, I thought you had some flaws. I think you were an easy grader. So what are you grading yourself today?
Oh, last week I was on. This week I was way off. Still hungover. Ripping tequila shots last night. Just drinking too much beer at a wedding. I got back to my house about 11:30 this morning and barely made it in time to get in front of the TV to start the game. So my prep was just no prep at all, like I usually have. And then I think I napped for about 30 minutes in the second game, so I'd give myself a C- today.
Ooh, the nap is a classic me move from last year. But yeah. I told you in that text that you're going to have to be the guy on Twitter pregame for the listener start sit questions, because I've got a wedding next weekend. So
I slept all the way home those 2 hours in the car. It was incredible. The best ride of my life.
Yeah, see, your wife is nice like that. Like, she would drive for you. My fiance won't. She'll be like, no, just suck it up.
No, I got a kid in the back. She doesn't want him to die.
That's a good point. I should steal someone's kid at the wedding.
Yeah, that's what you need to do.
Nice. Well, let's kick it off right away with how crappy that Thursday night football game was. The Houston Texans won a thriller, 13-9. I think the best part about that game was J.J. Watt's tackle on that offensive lineman on the final play.
It's just like a form tackle, though. I don't know why we're just freaking out. If you watch it over again, like, it was just a surprise. Like, you weren't ready for it. But tackle, like, against a dummy where I expected him, I would have just lit him up.
He did light him up. The guy's feet were lifted off the ground.
There's no, I don't want you to wrap up and drive him when he's not looking. I want you to just explode through him and then just keep running.
That is the tackle that they are going to show the youth of this world for safe football moving forward. Because it was like by the book.
He just didn't grade it. He didn't do that. He just tackled him like a normal person.
I'm going to disagree. I think it was the best tackle I've ever seen. That guy weighs over 300 pounds. It takes a little bit to get him down.
Today there was a screenplay. A guy just died. I don't know who it was. I texted you about it, though.
I don't remember which one that was now.
Oh, man, what was that? I was like, was it Todd Gurley?
I can't remember now. Dude, yeah, but at the end of the day, my thoughts on that game are Cincinnati, get rid of Dalton. NFL, get rid of Thursday Night Football.
Yeah, I don't want to really talk about that game.
Let's move on. The Baltimore Ravens 24, the Cleveland Browns 10. My biggest takeaway from this one, I suggested a waiver wire claim last week on Buck Allen. Yep. And I don't know if people took me serious or not on that, but he had 43 snaps today compared to Terrence West 16. So if you haven't yet, if he's still available, would you put a claim in on Buck Allen?
I'm going to have to, the way Isaiah Crowell has been playing for me. He had 10 carries today for only 37 yards. I'm high on him going into the year. I'm still not down yet, but I'm freaking out. I'm not going to do what everyone thinks I'm going to do. I'm not going to freak out. But they've got the Colts coming up, the Jets, who actually suck at run defense this year now that they lost Richardson. So if he doesn't have a good next 3 games, and the Bengals. So if he doesn't have a good game in the next 3 games, like every one of those games should be a good amount of yards if he's going to play well this year. I'll freak out if he doesn't have a good game next game against the Browns.
What'd you think about
against the Bengals? Against
Colts?
Colts,
yeah. What did you think about the Browns taking out Kaiser for a migraine and then bringing him back into the game? I feel like migraine's like the safe way these days to get around like concussion. Like if you just call it a migraine, you're probably going to be okay.
And then he came back. You don't just come back your migraine does not go away.
Not in that amount of time, no. Not a chance.
That's like people don't come back from that. It's ridiculous. Not that fast. So
do you think the team? Do you think the
just
team?
had to go poopy.
Hey, he may have taken a dump.
Yeah.
Do you think the team's regretting starting him right away? Do you think maybe they rushed him in? I think he had 4 interceptions today.
No, I've went over this before. Yeah, he sucked. But my thinking is, Browns aren't going to win. Let's see if this guy can come in and play well right away. And if not, then they've got Josh Rosen, they've got Sam Darnold, or they got Josh Allen, or maybe one of the best quarterback classes to come out next year. So let's find out if this guy's anything. Because they're building right now, and the quarterback, I guess they just want to see what they have, and they're like, let's go get one next year if this one doesn't make the playoffs anyways.
I get that logic of thinking. I'm actually not quite opposed to that, because it's not like they put a first-rounder on Kaiser. I mean, it was still a high pick, but it wasn't like he was a top 10 pick.
No.
So he's not the guy that you're totally married to.
No, they're not they thought maybe, hey, we can go try to get a Dak Prescott or something.
Right. Let's move on to the thriller today in Carolina. They scored a whole 9 points, but they won. They got the win. Yeah, Carolina 9, Bills 3.
Yeah, that's awful. The Bills need Sammy Watkins back.
Is there anything they can do to get Watkins back?
they need to go back and get him because that was an awful game. There's not even that much to say about it. Like, Cam Newton's still inaccurate. Benjamin had a little bit better of a game.
Yeah.
Funchie's actually had a pretty decent game as well. So, I don't know. Greg Olsen got hurt. That sucks for them and their offense. The way Cam's playing, he can't have Greg Olsen getting injured, so that's going to hurt his fantasy value a bit as well.
I was just going to ask you, so he said after the game that he broke his foot. Is there anyone on that roster? I don't think it's a tight end, really, that's going to step in and just do what... No. I mean, obviously, a tight end's going to play for Olsen. But in regards to, fantasy purposes, who's that guy that's going to step up? The targets and the production has to go somewhere. I just don't know where because that offense right now is so inept.
Well, it's not. That's where they're going to slack because they don't have that connection that he has with Greg Olsen. They're familiar with each other, so it's gonna be hard for him. And he's already not. They don't look good. They can't freaking score.
Right.
Cam's inaccurate right now. Hopefully he gets better as the year goes on. Assuming it's just his shoulder, but right now it's just wow, you are struggling to hit guys.
And they need to get the offense going through the ground as well. They only had 77 yards rushing today, under 3 yards per carry. And if you look at that team, and if Newton's not 100% healthy, the running game has to get going, especially when you invested a top 10 pick in McCaffrey, who I don't think he did anything on the ground today. I think he had under 10 rushing yards.
27.
Is that what he ended up with?
He had 10
rushing, and then not too many through the air, I don't think. I don't remember what I saw.
4 for 34.
Okay. So, he's going to have to pick it up. Someone's going to have to pick it up because that offense, I mean, what they play week one, the 49ers, and they kind of won real ugly, and now they just won even uglier against the Bills.
Yeah.
So, they're 2-0, but that's a terrible 2-0.
And weren't Jay Ajayi's 2 huge games last year against the Bills, horrible run defense?
He went for the 200 against the Bills twice.
Yeah, and then, I was going to say, 200, that's not good.
No, not at all.
He can't do anything.
Right. Let's move on to a lot of ugly games. I just realized that just talking about it now.
I was going to mention that. It's week 2. Hopefully they get better, but it is. I don't like to say that the NFL is ugly. I'll admit a couple of games, but this is too many games.
Yeah, because
too many games are ugly.
The Cardinals beat arguably the worst team that we saw from week 1, the Colts, today, 16-13. You have the Rams scored over 40 plus against the Colts last week, and now you're the Cardinals, who are not too far away removed from having a really good offense. Granted, they lost David Johnson. You scored 16 points. Yeah. Beating the Colts by 3 is basically losing.
Dude, and they, Jacoby Brissett. I had a Brissett last night at dinner at my wedding. A brisket. Jacoby Brisket.
That was better than Jacoby.
He's better than Tolzien, but that's his first game. He hasn't been with the team for very long, and freaking almost beat the goddamn Cardinals in his first game. That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
that was an awful game too. I couldn't even. I mean, we didn't see much of it because we're red zone watchers and stuff. So
yeah, my biggest takeaway right now from the Cardinals is in a couple of leagues, the way I drafted my quarterbacks was in most leagues, I waited, got a guy like a Winston or a Rivers, and then I wanted to take a second quarterback somewhat early. And Palmer was like the last guy that I was comfortable with as that second quarterback. And I'm not quite sure that I'm really comfortable with him as my second quarterback because I think I have him in 2 leagues. And I'm not happy about it. I'll talk about a waiver wire guy right now. It's not related to this game, but a guy I might look into if he's available, Trevor Siemian. I hate him as a quarterback, but I mean, at this point, he's doing better than what Carson Palmer is.
Hey, he's playing pretty well.
4 touchdowns today.
Yeah.
The waiver wire guy. What's that?
You're still playing.
I don't. We're recording this so we can get it done before the Packers game, and the Lightning in the Broncos game made that one go super late. So that's why there's a lot of speculation in our voices.
Yep.
The waiver claim I was going to say from that Colts Cardinals game was if J.J. Nelson is still available. He put up 5 for 120 and a touchdown today, and he had a touchdown earlier in the game as well that was taken away. So he was legit close to 6 catches and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, and John Brown also could be out for a while, so that's going to help him as well. But their offense looks – I mean, Carson Palmer is done. Said it last week. Their offense looks anemic. It's not good.
Yeah, big time.
Without David Johnson, without John Brown, it's almost like rebuild. They should have drafted a quarterback.
Yeah. Oh, no kidding. Think about that. Yeah, that was kind of the predicament they were in. They're like, well, we go in all right now with Fitzgerald and Palmer with the offense that we have, or we rebuild. And, yeah, they definitely didn't. Like you said earlier, though, there's a couple of guys that'll be drafted earlier. One guy you left out, Lamar Jackson, he's always an option, too.
Oh, he's black, though. I didn't want to talk about him.
Yeah, you can't replace Carson Palmer with Lamar Jackson. That's too big of a difference. Offense will never be able to catch up.
All right.
Offensive outburst today by the Tennessee Titans, who won 37-16 against the Jags. My instant reaction to that is Tennessee, the good from that game was the running game. They hit like 180 rushing yards, over 5 per carry. The bad, and it was kind of opposite from last week, is they didn't really get much production out of the wide receiver position. But this is kind of that situation where I'm not going to react on this because this was just 1 week against a pretty solid defense, an up-and-coming defense anyways for the Jaguars.
Did DeMarco Murray is he hurt, or did they just not like him today?
So I think what ended up happening was, I think it was kind of just like a split early, because when I was watching it, Murray was the one getting the carries. Yeah. But then as the game kind of got out of control, I think they just went with the hot hand, who was Henry at the time.
I think this lends to what you and I said preseason. We were high on Henry because we thought the share was going to start going more and more his way. He ended up with 14 carries and 92 yards. That's 6.6 yards a carry.
Dude, the shitty thing is, Delaney Walker stole a goal line carry from him for a touchdown, and the fullback.
I think Fulton or whatever his name was for that touchdown as well.
They both stole inside the 2-yard line. Yeah. Score. So Henry legit could have had 3 touchdowns today.
3 touchdowns, yeah.
Guess whose bench he's on?
Yours.
Oh, multiple leagues.
Yeah. That's tough because if they're going to do the Murray, I don't know. He hasn't looked good the first 2 games, so it might just be. It feels like Henry could just take over this run game.
I know, and I feel like if you're in a situation like I am with this backfield, I feel like Henry's a fairly safe flex play.
I'm going to trade you for him. I'm going to send you a trade offer.
I might have to do it because I can't fit him a spot in for him right now.
I've got Keenan Allen, so let's talk.
Oh, let's talk. We'll talk after this.
All right.
Nice. On to the next one. The Kansas City Chiefs won a game that on the scoreboard was closer than it probably was. The Eagles scored at the very end to pull within 7, so the Chiefs won 27-20.
Yeah.
What's your instant reactions here?
It felt like the Eagles were just swinging back like they were going to win there for a little bit in the game, and then the Chiefs just kind of cream hunted them. He's good. He's a good football player. If you got him in your draft in the 4th round, probably you've got to steal. He's going to continue to do this as long as he doesn't get hit.
What I was going to ask you from this? It's early. Obviously, it's still only September. Is he a top 5 fantasy football running back in next year's draft?
I mean, if he continues like this, easily.
The thing, too, with him was they kind of had him bottled up, and then he busted that one long one.
Yeah. That was just great blocking. They run the ball; they'll just keep running it until they find a hole like that. So that's why you have to like Kareem Hunt, because they're just going to keep running it no matter what.
The thing,
Alex Smith needs them to run it to open up his game.
Yeah, Alex
what about
Smith.
Tyreek Hill?
Well, that's the thing, yeah, because Alex Smith didn't score or didn't go for 4 touchdowns today. He played a little bit more like Alex Smith of old.
Exactly. Tom Brady went to Tom Brady, and Alex Smith went back to Alex Smith. So.
Exactly. The classic overreaction.
Yeah, 9 yards per pass? He was 21 of 28, really good percentage, but everything is high percentage throws for you.
That's what he does. He's the efficient guy. He's the Sam Bradford.
Exactly. And Travis Kelce, fantasy owners will be happy if he can continue to score touchdowns, because that's been his biggest issue, Julio style.
Yeah, I tweeted during the Thursday night game that Tyler Eifert and Travis Kelce are like the most underutilized tight ends in the game today. Like, they need to be schemed to. You need to get them targets.
Yeah.
I was going to say about Hunt, too. I had one more thing. My brain.
He's really good.
Oh, so let's look forward to next year already. What if they do move away from Alex Smith and Mahomes? They could even lean potentially on Hunt even more.
This is what I was saying before this season, too. Everybody's Patrick Mahomes this, Patrick Mahomes that. Fucking Alex Smith gets 10 wins a year, and they're in the playoffs, and they look like one of the best teams in the NFL right now. Yet everybody's ready to move on to Patrick Mahomes. You don't just get this consistency from a guy and just let it go. Look what happened to San Francisco. Like, they went up, and now they're down in the gutters. Like,
But remember from one of the draft preview episodes we did, we said, like, okay, so the Chiefs always do make the playoffs. They always do have the 10-plus wins. What is that next thing that's going to take them to the next level? And I think it ends up being the quarterback play.
No, I mean, their defense is good enough that they can carry them with how efficient their offense typically is, that they could go to the Super Bowl. They just don't have the Patriots are there, so.
It's kind of like the Seattle situation with Wilson.
Yeah.
Is that what you're comparing it to?
Pretty much, exactly.
I just don't think that Chiefs defense is quite to that level of what Seattle was.
You have no idea what Patrick Mahomes is.
You have no
idea. He could be the worst damn quarterback in the history of the league.
Maybe he can get traded.
He throw tons of interceptions. He does.
Maybe they can trade him to the Cardinals.
Maybe. That's a good idea. That's who I wanted. That's who I had them drafted. Let's mention Tyreek Hill.
Oh, yes.
What do you have today? He had 1 carry for 6 yards and 4 catches for 43 yards. That's what I expect to see out of him for more games than not.
Actually, that's kind of a really weird stat line for him, because he's not usually that type of guy that's going to get like 10 yards. I feel like he's going to be more of a, well, I guess if they throw it to him in more screens, he could put up that. But yeah, definitely, like I texted you earlier today, it's 1-to-1 now. He had the one good week, and now he had backs. So yeah, kind of cool it on him. Let's keep her moving so you can get that Packers game going.
Yep.
The Patriots 36-20. That's the classic overreaction, like we talked about. Brady's back, 447 yards, 3 touchdowns. We already kind of talked about that a little bit. One thing I wanted to hit on, I told you going into this game that if the Patriots have a running back that is going to be like their featured guy that actually resembles a running back, it's Gillislee. He had 18 carries again today. Deion Lewis had just 4. White and Burkhead had just 2 each. But to your point from earlier,
Come on, bro.
Yeah, I know. White had 8 catches, so you have that going for you.
And he's on the field a ton as well. So, and he plays like slot and running back for them. And yeah, he had the 8 catches for how much?
I like how much we debated.
He has a great burst, man. When he gets lost, 8 for 85 yards.
Yeah, that's good.
Second leading receiver on the team.
I like how, because they only had 2 active for a while there once Hogan got hurt.
Chris Hogan played well, and then Gronk got hurt as well, but James White played well, and that even boasts him up more if those guys are out.
I like how much we debated between Gillislee and James White in FanDuel this week, and they basically both scored 13 points.
Yeah.
They were like the same thing.
Yeah.
Is a groin injury for Rob Gronkowski possibly the worst ever injury that he could sustain, just given his personal lifestyle?
Maybe. But we predict this is another thing. I think we're nailing things. We were one of the people that were saying we're scared to grab Gronkowski. We're not going to draft him in the first round. We won't have him on our team because he's so injury. That's just what he does. He gets injured. So
the football field is one thing. I was concerned more about his bedroom.
Yeah, I know. I understand that.
I mean, that's going to take away a lot of his thrusting, and I think a guy like that really prides himself on his thrust.
He's just going to injure himself more now trying to thrust through
Dude,
it.
he's toast. Yeah, this could be like a 1 week injury, but he's going to extend that fucker to a month.
Yeah, it's going to be forever long. How did the Cowboys score again?
I think Witten got one.
Oh, okay. As long as it's not Zeke.
Nope.
All right.
What do the Saints need to do? They're just. I want to set it up a sec.
Defense.
Well, but think about it this way too. They're 0-2 now, and they play in a division with the Panthers, who are 2-0, the Falcons, who are in the Super Bowl last year, and the Buccaneers, who look good as well. Well, I agree that it's stupid.
Panthers are worse than 2-0 though. So I mean, they're worse than a 2-0 team. They don't look good at all. They just got two really bad teams.
Yep, I agree.
Right away.
I agree, but the Saints are 0-2, and at the end of the day, you are what your record is. Bill Parcells, write that down.
Okay, yeah, but it's still early. You can't just start saying that right now. But I don't know. They're not going to be a playoff team. There's nothing they can really do at this point. They're just going to have to let Drew Brees throw for a bunch of yards and have that be the highlight of the year, like every year. Yeah. But I hope everybody took my advice to bet on this was my lock of the week for this game. It was the Patriots covering versus the Saints. So
and it was simple. Yeah, you didn't have to sweat that one, man.
Nope, not at all.
A team that people may have overreacted to a little bit after week one. The Vikings went into Pittsburgh, scored just 9 points, lost to the Steelers 26-9. Were the Vikings the biggest overreaction for a week one winner?
No, because Case Keenum played quarterback.
You gonna put it on him?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, they're down. You know, they like Bradford. Bradford has a good completion percentage. Case Keenum is Case Keenum. He's moved all over the place. He's not very good. So they kind of went out there with a crappy quarterback against a really good team and didn't have much of a chance with that. I mean, the defense can only do so much when your quarterback's that bad.
Yeah. Do you start Big Ben at home no matter what now? I mean, yes. I benched him in a league, and I don't remember who I played over him now because I'm in too many damn leagues. But he goes up against a good defense, and the Vikings defense still played good. I won't say that they didn't play bad, but he put up 243 yards and 2 touchdowns. So nothing like that'll blow you away, but still a consistent starter.
Yeah, I mean, he has to be played at home. It's like bench him on the road and play him at home. I don't get it. He was so bad against the Browns team and so good against a good Vikings team.
Right, yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make sense at all.
It's just, I don't know what's in his head about playing on the road, but it's really weird. But it was nice to see Martavis Bryant go off like we said he would.
Don't really want to talk about it. Another guy that I left on my bench.
You said he would.
Dude, it's what I do. I draft good guys and I leave them on my bench. I want my bench to outscore your bench every week.
Yeah.
That's the league I'm creating next year.
You see his stat line is 3 for 91 yards. 3 catches for 91 yards. That's 30 yards a catch.
Well, it's like we said too, like a good defense is a good defense, but what beats a good defense? It's speed. And he got him down the field.
He's tall and he's fast as shit. And they were taking away Antonio Brown, like I said. So
right.
They had the one-on-one. He was, Trey Waynes covering him? He was just making him toast, man.
You also brought up the idea that Le'Veon Bell needed more touches, and they gave him 31 touches this week. No touchdowns, but
no touchdowns.
I'm a pretty big believer that Bell's touchdowns are going to come. So don't sell him in your fantasy leagues thinking that, oh shit, he's taking a back seat, but I wouldn't do that at all. If anything, if you can try to buy Bell, I would be all on that.
Yeah, against the Vikings defense? Shit, yeah. 31, 27 carries for 87 yards. Yeah. And imagine what he's going to do against just a normal defense. I mean, Vikings and Seattle, I think, are among the top defenses in the league. Now they're going to get cake the rest of the time, and they're going to give him that many touches, unlike last week.
Yeah. Let's keep busting through these. Buccaneers won 29-7. Kind of a meh game. I think it was just like that classic Tampa Bay, just take care of business. If you look at their stats, nothing was like awesome. They didn't pass for a ton of yards. They didn't run all that well. They just literally took care of business after not playing last week. So if anything, it was a pretty good showing considering it was the first game of the year and they played against the Bears, who actually looked fairly decent against the Falcons last week.
Yeah, Mike Evans continues to be just targeted. I could see him scoring 20 touchdowns this year.
He's my boy. Fucking love Mike Evans. He's just going to throw him the
ball, man. That's all Jameis is going to do. He's going to force him the ball. So they're going to be a good football team. They have a good defense. They have a good offense. They're a good young team that scares me as an opponent to the Packers.
Are you nervous as a Jordan Howard owner? Cohen outsnapped him today, 39-31.
Yeah, he had a shoulder issue, and they were in a situation where they had to pass anyways. And they did say that this is going to happen. That today, he'll be the featured back, but with his shoulder, he's going to get less usage, and down so much means Cohen's got to be on the field a little bit more. So that doesn't worry me as much.
Yeah, agreed. The Oakland Raiders, kind of like our both adopted team in the AFC.
Yep.
45-20 over the Jets. So the Raiders win at Tennessee, who everyone loves in the South. Then they score 45 against the Jets. And it's not like the Jets are really that good, but if there's one thing the Jets would maybe pride themselves on a little bit anyways, it would be their defense. But yeah, a lot of hate for the Raiders, and then they go out and win by 25. A lot of, I don't want to call it hate, but just not belief yet in Derek Carr. He only missed 5 passes, and then he had 3 touchdowns to Michael Crabtree.
I'm the biggest Derek Carr. I'm a bigger Derek Carr fan than I'm Tyrod. I just talk about Tyrod all the time because of his, how underrated he is. But yeah, Derek Carr's the man, and everybody else can suck it.
Well said. Let's move on. Let's move on to the game of the day. The Miami Dolphins are 1-0, looking like Super Bowl contender with Cutler.
First place in the division.
19-17 after escaping a field goal attempt by that dude that can spin the ball, do a flip while he kicks it into the field goal. Maybe they should do that instead of snap it.
Yeah, he needs to because he should have won 2 games back-to-back weeks.
This is
the Chargers. How does it keep happening?
11 losses in one-score game since 2016 lead the NFL.
I texted you. I said they have to win a close game, and I'm like, he's going to make this, and he didn't.
And I legit thought of all teams that could come against Miami, but if you remember last year,
I thought it was going to happen because it was you.
Exactly. But if you remember last year, it was a tied game. They were driving, and Alonso had that pick 6 to win it. So 2 years in a row now, Miami has kind of just snuck one out. Fan. Yeah, you should be through me.
Yeah. Okay.
I wanted the one thing I want to ask about this one. Have your thoughts finally changed on the J train? 28 carries, 122 yards.
I don't back down after one game. I'm not going to back down from Tyreek Hill. I'm not going to back down from J.J. after one game.
Did you see a little bit, at least, through your red zone today?
I watched him play.
All you do is say that he's just a straight runner. Dude, his cutback is good. He was spinning today. He was like a human circle button.
I think he spun because that one guy pulled on his hip and forced him to. That was an accident. That was just like one of those, I'm going to pull you around. It worked out.
Well, he gets the Jets next week, so hopefully that shitty run defense can continue.
He might eat next week,
yeah. Throw him in your DFS lineup.
They can't pass block, though.
Oh, dude, Tunsil is struggling.
Yeah.
They struggle with stunts, and he struggled as a guard against stunts right away in the season last year, but, oh, man, he just sat there against Melvin Ingram on one play. Just let him go right by him.
Yeah, he ran around him. And speaking of bad offensive lines,
the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah.
12 points today. The 49ers beat them by 3. They
were at home. That wasn't even at San Francisco.
Yeah, that's right. My only theory on this, and this is just from being a Dolphins fan with shitty offensive lines, you legit at this point just need to get creative. You need to roll the pocket. You need to do like some quick screens. You need to do some draws. You need to do something to keep the defensive line unbalanced. Otherwise, it's going to be hell for Russell Wilson. He's going to get hurt again.
I predicted Seattle to go 10-6, and I think they might win less.
The thing is,
they're bad. Like that, are they actually bad? I think they are. That offensive line is so bad. They can't score touchdowns.
The good thing
can't do it.
The good thing for them is they get the 49ers, Rams, and Cardinals twice.
Yeah, you would think that was a good thing, but I think the Rams are going to beat them twice.
With that defense, they could. All I can say is they need to get creative. I feel bad if you drafted any Seattle players right now because
they're not good.
They just don't have any time to create.
I picked him up, Chris Carson. Yeah. That's the only guy I like in that offense right now.
The only guy I think I have on that team is CJ Prosise, and it's just because I got him late in like PPR and half PPR leagues.
I picked up Chris Carson. He looked like their best running back at the end of the game.
Yeah. One game that's still going on now, the Broncos are currently leading the Cowboys 35-17, so it looks like Denver's about to be 2-0. We talked about Simeon
Yeah.
He's my waiver wire guy probably of the week if he's still available. If you need a backup, even you could legit start him. I mean, people are starting Dak, and look at how he outperformed Dak.
I'm gonna go look at a quarterback myself. I have Tyrod Taylor with Andrew Luck, but now I'm a little worried about Andrew Luck, so I'm gonna go find myself a quarterback to pick up this week.
How much of our fake money for the auction free agency are you going to put on Simeon? So I know to do $1 more.
Either him or Jared Goff.
How much
I like Jared Goff.
How much are you putting on him?
I don't know, man.
You need to
$1
tell me.
higher.
Are the Cowboys still your team in the NFC East though?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think you can overreact to this. Broncos defense is good. They're at home. I don't think you can overreact to this.
A team like the Broncos is their weakness.
Right.
Because they have a bad defense in the Cowboys, and they're playing against a defense that can actually stop them. So.
Right. Let's move on to one more here before tonight's game. Redskins eked out a win, 27-20, game-winning touchdown by your boy Kirk Cousins. But it's kind of as I talked about earlier. Cousins, you mean you're going to be okay? He's going to have low touchdowns, but is he your guy?
No. And if all these fantasy guys that I'm telling you, he's going to be the bust this year. He's going to be the biggest bust. 179 yards and a touchdown today.
Yeah.
They suck.
That was bad.
They suck.
The one thing that
I don't even care.
The one thing they did, what was the biggest difference between week 1 and 2 for the Redskins? They ran the ball. They had 200.
Ran the ball pretty well, yeah.
I think they had like 230 rushing yards when it was all said and done, over 6 per carry.
229. Yeah, they ran the ball really well, and it was 5.9 per carry. But yeah.
Damn stats at the end of the game. But it was kind of spread out. Like Thompson had a long one. Kelly was doing fine until he got hurt, and then P. Ryan didn't have a great yards per carry, but he kind of toted the rock when he needed to.
It felt like maybe the Rams just thought their defense was so dominant they didn't play the run. They played the pass and thought they could stop the run because of how bad the Washington run game and offensive line is. Yeah. And Washington was actually able to run it.
Right.
It almost still worked. They should have. I think the Rams still should have won that game. So.
If you have Terrell Pryor and you've been using him as your wide receiver 2 or in a flex, is he on your bench now until he proves it?
Yes. I wasn't high on him, and I wasn't high on Kirk Cousins coming into the season. Them being in their first year together, their offensive line doesn't look good. Kirk Cousins doesn't really throw the ball down the field that well. Just all of those things make me worried about him and Terrell Pryor, and then Kirk Cousins in general. I'm feeling like my prediction for him being a huge bust this year is I think I look really good 2 games in right now.
I think I ended up having, when it was all said and done, Pryor as like my wide receiver 17. I didn't get him in any leagues, but I feel like I was way too high on him.
Because you have better value at those. That's one of those like Devontae Freeman situations.
Right.
Speaking of Devontae Freeman.
Yeah, what are your predictions tonight? Packers at Falcons in the new stadium that looks like a spaceship that just got dropped down.
It's an animation. It doesn't look real.
No, not at all. What's the prediction?
Well, see, I'm pessimistic. Both Brian Bulaga, our right tackle, and Dave Bakhtiari, maybe the best blocking left tackle in the league, or one of the top 5, are out tonight. So I'm worried about Rodgers' backside. He's got Vic Beasley coming off hot against some young guys that tackle.
Some young guys.
They're gonna have to run the ball. They're gonna have to run the ball to throw off and keep those outside linebackers from teeing off on Aaron Rodgers, because we don't want him to get hurt, and Montgomery's gonna have a game.
What's the game plan against number 11 on the other side of the ball?
3 guys on him all at one time. Single cover everybody else.
Just freaking wall them up. This is where
a safety and a cornerback and a linebacker all spying him.
I like it. You got any other final thoughts before we wrap it up?
No, I'm ready to watch this game. Time to go.
All right. Thanks again for listening. As always, tweet any questions you'd like answered on the podcast on Twitter at LoadedBox. We're available on iTunes. That's what I got. So enjoy your Sunday Night Football. If you're listening to this tomorrow, you already know the results, and enjoy Monday Night Football.
Bye.
Oh, this thing doesn't turn off.
I forgot that you were recording that.
Still haven't stopped it.
At the beginning, I mean.
I still haven't stopped it.